But this here is an old Pepsi crate. So there's Pepsi there. And my parents both turning ancient this year. This is, my dad drinks Pepsi. I'm not a Pepsi drinker. He's been a Pepsi drinker as long as I can remember. And I remember I had this box laying around up in the barn. I said, well, you know, I don't know where I got it from, probably at an auction. I thought, you know, maybe I could fix this thing up a little bit and give it to him. And I got some other crap I got at some auctions, some golf balls and whatnot. Figure out, make a little gift box for the two of them out of it. This thing's in rough shape. I got some linseed oil laying around. I'm gonna sand it down, see if I can't get the wood a little better. Maybe pull the nails out, sand everything down, and then this metal here is most of it's missing. See, this is a little piece of it left here. With up here, this is all rusted and broken too. So I'm probably gonna try and make a new one of those. It looks like it might have been originally 3 pieces. This one here, and this one here, which is broken right down the middle there, and this one. So it looks like, you know, 2 small ones and a wider one with a big gap around it. So that's going to be this project. See where that gets us. All right, catch you later. Figure out how long this strip of metal is. 27 inches.
All right, well, I had a little trouble with my GoPro, and well, I lost about an hour and a half worth of raw video, so what we're gonna have to do is just kind of talk you through it here. Where we're at, I disassembled the entire box, pieces of it everywhere, and threw out all the metal because it was junk. Managed to save some of the original screws, threw out all the replacement screws and any of the screws that just rusted down to nothing. They're all in the recycle bin over there. Got these pieces all glued to fill in some of the cracks and where things broke apart. Clamped, like this here, this broke right off. And I did cut new metal pieces out of a big ass piece of metal that I had. Just basically screwed 2 screws in the metal and clamped it to a board, and then cut it with a jigsaw. Afterwards, I bent it over on the edges, hammered the heck out of it, and then I hit it with the wire wheel and cleaned all the paint off of it. Alright, so these are pretty much together, and but I do have one more here. I ran out of clamps. I got one more that has to be glued together, so we're gonna pull one of the clamps apart and glue this one. These are probably the only clamps I've got that are big enough to handle this board. All these pieces are going to be kind of held in place by those 2 metal strips there. They bend around the whole box, so it's not super important that all this be glued 100%, but it's going to be better if it is. Do as best as we can make it. It lines up pretty darn well. We'll take it apart tomorrow. The ones I've taken apart, this one that I took apart already seems to be a lot better. It's definitely flexing where that crack that went all the way across was. It's not flexing anymore, so I think we're definitely on the right track. Have to try and clean up some of the that glue and then sand them. And the idea is to not sand off the letters, which kind of sand everything else, so that when we put the linseed oil on there, that it absorbs in good. Next, gotta trim the glue off and or sand them. Well, definitely have to sand them. Alright, got the glue off. The only thing I wasn't really happy with was this bit right here. I should have wiped it off on there. And definitely took off some of the lettering, but this side it's actually got better lettering anyways. I didn't get any glue on that, so maybe put that side on the outside and put that in the back. Next step is sanding. So I'm gonna just hit these are the bottom pieces here. I'm gonna hit them, kind of just get them loosened up and opened up a little bit, to get kind of the junk off of them a little. Just hitting these with some 80 grit. Actually, I think this is 60 grit. I'm not over concerned about. Clearly, it wasn't very well sanded the first time around, so I'm not going to worry too much about doing much other than just getting some of the nasty off of it, and then opening it up so that it'll accept the linseed oil. I'm going to be using boiled linseed oil. I bought it for a different project, and we decided to go a different route on that, so I got a bunch of it. I would probably, if I were just buying it to do this project, I'd probably go with raw linseed oil, although the boiled will go a lot faster, cures a lot quicker. It kind of gives a shellac finish, and I don't know that I really wanted a shellac finish on this. I'm kind of hoping that it doesn't, I don't mind it sealing it up, I just hope it penetrates well enough to rehydrate the wood the way I need it to. But I know with the raw linseed oil, it probably would have done a lot better job of getting in there, because it would have taken longer to absorb it. On the sides, I am going to probably sand these. I'll probably do 60. And the concern, of course, is these lettering here. I don't want to take off any of the lettering, so I'm going to try and sand around it as best I can. And hopefully that's enough to get the liquid in. These are actually in better shape than the bottoms are. The bottoms are thin and they're in pretty rough shape. The sides aren't in too bad a condition, so they don't need as much of the linseed oil to be absorbed into them, so I'm not as concerned about them as I am the bottoms. So I'm going to try and make them look pretty, but I definitely don't want to sand off the lettering. I'd rather have it as close to original as possible. So, alright, so I'm going to finish sanding these up, and then we'll be back. Okay, finished sanding. I kind of pieced everything together to get a feel for how it's going to go in the end, and I'm pretty happy. So, alright, done sanding. I'm going to put the linseed oil on, but I figured I'm going to kind of wipe everything down with the damp cloth first to get any sand residue off. Not that there's a ton. A couple of interesting things I found when I was mucking with this. There's more writing on them than I thought. Found out the age of the box. Actually, this crate is from 1964, which means it's a couple years older than I am. This one especially. I didn't want to sand the letters, so I took a damp cloth and I scrubbed the really dirty, nasty spots and got a lot of the grunge off of it. So cleaned it up a little bit. We're getting there. So now I think we're ready to try and put some linseed oil on. Alright, well, a little bit of an update here. I've noticed as I was doing one of these that seems to be really absorbing in the linseed oil. So, which is what I want. I want the linseed oil I want it to take up a lot of linseed oil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my time with each one and kind of super saturate one side with lots and lots of coats. Well, not coats so much as just keep putting it on as long as it's going to absorb it in. And then after 15 minutes I'll wipe that side off and move on. But okay, these things are still absorbing a ton of linseed oil, and I'm thinking maybe it's time to go with another option here. We're going to go with Plan C, I think is about where we're at here. I'm just going to soak these things in linseed oil. That way I'm not standing here brushing them, and adding more and more and more. I will just put it on, soak them in here for 20 minutes on each side, take them out, drain them off, and then wipe them down. If I'd have done this in the first place, I'd have probably saved myself 3 or 4 hours today. But I did look it up. And linseed oil is perfectly safe with plastic. So, look it up online, of course. So if it's wrong, it can't be wrong. It's on the internet, so it must be right. Must be right. It's on the internet. All right. Batches though, so I don't think I'm going to put too many in here at a time. Number all these bits and pieces so I know what order they go back on in. If this don't work, yeah, well, the parents will love me anyways. Alright, it's been about 15 minutes. I'll flip these over. These seem to be, oh yeah, they're definitely not floating high as they were a few minutes ago. So quite a bit, hopefully. I might start contemplating how I'm going to rig these up so they drain. Definitely going to work a lot better than using a paintbrush. Alright, now I figure out I'm going to hang these up so they can drain properly. Oh, I got more in there. Addendum. I'm thinking I'm going to hang these up from the ceiling here. So, got some old string that we used to use for the Fast Cat. And you can see how it's professionally labeled. Not for Fast Cat. I've dragged through the grass one too many times, and it just snaps when it's under tension. But hanging 5 feet off the ground in my basement is definitely different than being dragged through the grass for 400 yards. I think it'll be fine for this project. I'm willing to bet there's at least 2 of these screws laying on this table somewhere. Okay, these ones in the pan have been flipped over 15 minutes ago. These things have been hanging for half an hour, so I'm pretty darn pleased with this whole brilliant idea I had. So, take these down, wipe them off, send them off the side to dry. Get those out of the drink, put that last board in. I wasn't even going to film that originally. And there's a distinct possibility you may never know that I did. Okay. Let's start that one. I'm real happy with those ones. Mess. Alright, well, there's no real good reason for filming this, so I'm doing it anyways. It's all done. That one last piece has got to be hung up. Pretty happy with the way these came out. Really complete really is that the lettering is really hard to read now, but still you can still see where it says Pepsi, which is an important thing. These have been soaking, drying for about 2 full days now. So they're pretty dry. Maybe 3 days. I don't know when I did this, but maybe it's been 3 days. So they're in pretty good shape. Pretty happy with them. I had decided originally I was debating about whether I wanted to finish them or if I did with what I wanted to use. I'm gonna try this. It still works. A few reasons I've used this. It does. Okay. This is an acrylic lacquer, truck and van, clear coat. Which you use on automotives when you clear coat it when you want to clear coat them. We'll put a layer over the top. It dries pretty quick. So I'm gonna hit all these things with that. Get a little bit of a light coat, mostly to just seal them up. I'm not sanding anything here. I don't want to make anything smooth. Alright, well, you get the idea. Okay. All these parts are dry. They've been sitting for about probably an hour. Just putting one coat on these. I'm not sanding them or anything. I'm just going to drill the holes, line things up, and start hammering. I'll just do it one piece at a time. Well, 2 or 3 at a time. Then once it's all together, I'm going to throw another coat of the acrylic latex on there, or acrylic lacquer. So just get started here. I've got these. I'm going to kind of measure and drill holes in them, kind of like starter holes, to make sure that everything's where I want it. And I'm thinking that I might start in the middle, work my way around one side and the other. And I've got a bunch of the original nails, and then I found some nails of mine, used nails that are similar. They're not exactly the same, but they're close. Okay. Wash, rinse, repeat. You get the idea. Alright, I got the bottoms tacked. I can put a few more nails on those in a few minutes, but first I want to try and bend these around, or at least get one of them bent around. It'll look rustic. Okay. So, alright, I'm done hammering and nailing and screwing. Hammering and nailing, drilling. I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. Yeah. Hit it one more time with this acrylic lacquer here. There's not much left in here, so I might have to borrow some. I seen mine upstairs. My wife must have bought. So, but we'll see. I want to give this one final coat here, and I don't know how far this stuff will go. Still, as I was hammering, there was still some linseed oil coming out, so I'm thinking that this isn't as cured as it will be eventually, but for the time being, we're getting together with my parents on in 2 days, so I kind of need to have this finished. That is empty and pretty much done. Alright, well, this is Bindle Stiff Joe, Bindle Stiff Nation, and I have one reconditioned Pepsi Crate, a lot better shape than it was when I started. It's usable and doesn't have broken pieces falling off of it. So gonna load this up with a couple other things I've picked up over the year that I'm going to give my parents as a gift, and then we'll see you here next time I do a video. In the meantime, like and subscribe, and we'll see you around. Auf Wiedersehen.